Coming up, ladies and gentlemen, it's the world's most watched professional wrestling news program. WWE releases several talents. Where is Jonathan Coachman? And we go in depth on WWE and TNA ratings for February. All that and a whole lot more coming up next on PWR News.
And now, the world's most watched professional wrestling news program, the Pro Wrestling Report.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the world's most watched professional wrestling news program. Welcome to PWR News. Good evening. I'm Dameon Nelson.
He had to check his script. And good evening. I am the man that they call Meathead. Let's get right to tonight's top story.
Thank you, Meathead. Frank Cosentino traveling this week, but that doesn't stop PWR News from rolling along. WWE releases several talents, Meathead. Two of them, actually, to be specific, in addition to several from the developmental territories. The first from ECW. He had re-signed in 2006 when the brand relaunched, and he has, well, big balls. His name, Balls Mahoney, released from WWE, was not used much, though, Meathead, ever since he came in to WWE as part of the rebirth of ECW when it seemingly was going to be a rebirth of ECW.
What was the payoff between Balls Mahoney and Kelly Kelly?
I don't believe there was one that we saw on TV.
That we saw on TV. It may have been in a hotel room. It may have been, something they may have been married. Who knows? But Kelly Kelly Balls was the only thing that Balls was used for.
Indeed. Will he be missed in ECW?
Who?
And the other release comes from the SmackDown side of things, and it's Dave Taylor. Dave Taylor was last seen on SmackDown being used in a tag team with Drew McIntyre. Wasn't he one of New Kids on the Block? Taylor had also been involved.
I was thinking. I was like, and I'm trying to pan through the whole thing. I'm sorry.
Taylor had also been involved in the WWE developmental territory, and as we said, several talents released from the developmental end of things, including a former NFL star, former football star rather. But these two releases coming right after WrestleMania, and there's always this waiting period, if you will, between WrestleMania and the summer pay-per-view series of who will be released as WWE does what a lot of people like to call spring cleaning. Meathead, the release of Dave Taylor from WWE and SmackDown, really little or no impact, as he wasn't being used much either.
He wasn't being used much on camera. Dave Taylor, again, as you mentioned, during the developmental stuff, he was meant to help get over Drew McIntyre, who didn't get over at all. Not to say that Drew McIntyre is not a good hand, a good talent, but Drew McIntyre, as he was packaged, guy came out in a kilt, and there was nothing else. I mean, there was nothing special about this guy. So Drew McIntyre, Dave Taylor, you won't be missed. You'll be welcome back, though, if you want to, give it another shot.
A lot of people are saying there are some in WWE whose jobs may be in jeopardy. Who else is around but not around, who's not serving injury right now, that may be in jeopardy?
I'll give you a hint. It's time. It's time for revolution. It's time. Whatever happened to Gregory Helms?
Gregory Helms nursing that neck injury.
For a year and a half?
Well, I believe his injury was not as simple as thought to be. He's been rehabbing himself and coming back. Boogeyman, same situation. Actually, apparently getting his teeth replaced.
He's getting teeth put in?
Well, and most of you don't know that story. He came through tough enough, actually knocked his own teeth out so he can be a part of this gimmick for WWE, and is now, this is the last leg of his recovery journey, if you will. He's getting the teethuses fixed.
He's been missing some teeth for about a minute.
We can't speculate on anybody else who may be released, but we can talk about somebody who is distinctly absent from WWE. Mick Foley replacing Jonathan Coachman on SmackDown. We saw it at Backlash this past Sunday live on pay-per-view. Mick Foley steps in. He's the new color analyst on SmackDown, sitting alongside Michael Cole. Now, this was a very abrupt announcement, and news broke late Thursday that Mick Foley had been contacted by WWE to come on to SmackDown as a color analyst. Now, let's remember, it was not that long ago that JBL came back over to the Raw side of things and got involved in WWE in-ring action, and in being replaced by Jonathan Coachman, who was abruptly moved from Raw with basically no explanation. Now, we don't know exactly what the status of Coachman is with the company, but we do know Mick Foley did a solid job on commentary. What I think we can say is that Jonathan Coachman certainly was not doing a bad job, nor was it his first commentary outing, as he had done many a week of WWE Sunday Night Heat, and even spent time as the third man in the booth on WWE Raw. Now, Meathead, the question is, Jonathan Coachman, was he given the opportunity to really do what he needed to do on SmackDown to grow into his partner Michael Cole, or the rumor that's out there?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The rumor that's out there is Jonathan Coachman, who does do a lot of work for CBS Sports and the Madison Square Garden television network, is simply going back to where he came from. He came from Kansas City, Missouri, was a sports broadcaster down there before coming into WWE, potentially going back to his roots, and apparently does a very good job. I've not had a chance to hear his work, but does a very good job calling professional sports. Meathead, was he given that chance? Do you think it was his decision or the decision of WWE to go in a different direction?
You know, I think it might have been a combination of both. Jonathan Coachman didn't do bad. He was unfortunately very bland, very non-special. I mean, there was nothing unique about Jonathan Coachman on the microphone or on the stick. He was funnier when he was on the stick in the back, unlike a Frank Cosentino who was funny every day. Jonathan Coachman would be missed if he left WWE television. Excuse me for stumbling over that. He'd be missed if he left WWE, be it Raw, be it SmackDown, be it ECW. Coachman is part of the company. He's part of the show, and that'd be big shoes to fill, unlike the Great Khali's shoes.
Indeed. Mick Foley, how do you feel he did? Backlash has been the only opportunity we've seen him do commentary on recently. Obviously, tonight on SmackDown he'll get that, or Friday night on SmackDown he'll get that opportunity again. But what did you think of Mick Foley's performance next to Michael Cole?
I thought Foley did fine. And again, that's not Foley's first time ever doing color commentary either. Foley did the initial One Night Stand pay-per-view alongside Joey Styles. Foley, a great talent on the microphone. Mick Foley, given the opportunity again, will be fine, just absolutely fine, doing color commentary on SmackDown, be it on Raw or on ECW. I don't know if SmackDown was the right place for him. Again, you know, I've heard it mentioned, just like on PWR Interactive that we had this prior week here, I heard that it was mentioned that maybe Foley should have been the color commentator or even the play-by-play guy for ECW. Who knows?
Yeah, and obviously that continues to be a challenge for WWE, is the role that Mike Adamle continues to play with the company. Apparently not favorably received in Baltimore for the pay-per-view Backlash this past Sunday. And, you know, one point that a lot of people have made is he certainly tries, does Mike Adamle.
You can't hate Mike Adamle. You can't be upset with Mike Adamle for not giving an effort, because the guy is trying to do it. It's just that he has his roots based in professional sports, and some people can't make the transition into sports entertainment. Now, you had mentioned a few weeks ago when Mike Adamle first got thrown into the ECW mix, you know, maybe this is the perfect guy to have doing this because WWE can mold him into what they want him to be. Jim Ross, a great sports entertainment play-by-play man. Joey Styles, a great wrestling play-by-play man. Can they make Mike Adamle both? Now, what's happened over the last few weeks, you know, Adamle's been Jamaican me crazy, okay? I did that on purpose. Adamle's been Jamaican me crazy with his lack of doing anything. Taz is calling those matches. And basically, when they have talent to come out to the table or whatever, everybody's taking shots at Adamle. Come on, the guy's done it for 2, maybe 3 weeks. Give me a break. Give Adamle a break. Dameon, I really don't know what they're going to do with Adamle.
What a lot of reports indicate, and a lot of the feedback has been in the internet wrestling community, is that when you are supposed to be number one, if you will, which is the overall WWE, how could you put such a non-experienced person into such a prominent role when, quite frankly, there are better options out there? Joey Styles is doing backstage interviews on WWE.com.
Why?
I would even venture to say that a Tony Schiavone, a Scott Hudson, anybody may have been better in that role. Josh Matthews, who they have on the company payroll.
You know, I know a guy.
Better in that role.
I know a guy. I'm not going to mention his name on the air, but I know a guy. We talked 3-4 weeks ago that said he missed Tony Schiavone and needs Tony Schiavone to be back on the air. I won't mention his name, but he said he misses Tony Schiavone. That would have been a great opportunity for Tony Schiavone to jump back.
Michael Cole coming close to being Tony Schiavone. I don't know if you guys caught on Backlash, but several times he's got the Schiavone stance at the commentary table.
Maybe he's burnt out. Maybe that's what happened to Tony.
Well, a lot of people say that Michael Cole, his heart has never been in it. I don't buy into that or believe it because he does have a clear passion for the business, but really...
Passion for John Heidenreich, too, apparently.
If Michael Cole were gone, even though he's been in the company for 10 years as of now, if he were gone, would it really have a substantial negative impact on SmackDown?
Michael Cole being gone? Absolutely. I just got done saying in this very program, Jonathan Coachman being gone from the company would be someone we would miss. Michael Cole, tenfold over Jonathan Coachman.
Let's go to the next story, and it's the return of a legend, if you will. The Ultimate Warrior has returned to the professional wrestling world as far as in-ring action, if you will, goes. It was a special guest at an NWE event in Madrid, Spain, back on April 19th, 2008, where he came into the ring and accepted an award, said his in-ring days are over, but then was challenged by Orlando Bloom at this event, and there we saw some physicality. Ultimate Warrior shaking the ropes, getting into it, double clothesline, not getting around as good as he used to. Ultimate Warrior, Jim Hellwig, if you will, is someone who has been long looked at as an unstable mind in the professional wrestling business, and the unstable mind, if you will, may have led to his challenge that he issued. And before we get to that challenge, you can see the match, or you can see the altercation, if you will, from that NWE show on pwrshow.com, the website. So check that out in the video section of the website. But he made a challenge, Meathead. That challenge substantial, and it is for WrestleMania 25. The Ultimate Warrior, on a Seattle radio program just earlier this week, has challenged Vince McMahon to a match at WrestleMania.
I think it's the Ultimate Warrior definitely trying to get his name into something important, trying to get his name mentioned. Because right now, this is nothing more than a joke to anybody in the IWC or any passing wrestling fan, or anybody that's not even a wrestling fan that remembers the Ultimate Warrior. And it's a sad, desperate plea, to be honest with you, by the Ultimate Warrior. Again, he can't physically go in the ring. Can he mentally go? No, he hasn't been able to mentally go since he was able to physically go. So it's a sad state of affairs. And, you know, Jim, I know you watch our show, and I know that a lot of you out there in the internet world watch the show. Just go away, please. Enjoy life. But this is not the place for you.
Again, you can see the video of his return right here at pwrshow.com, or if you're watching us in any of our television markets, hop on over to the website at pwrshow.com. We're going to hop to a break, and when we come back, it's an in-depth ratings analysis of both WWE and TNA. We've got viewer mail about Backlash and Lockdown, upcoming events, and our top 3 coming up when we come back here on the Pro Wrestling Report. Won't take over as a better roster because it's time to shake things up again.
Really?
Oh yeah, we're gonna do an old-fashioned draft. We're gonna take every wrestling superstar, put them in a hat, and build our own wrestling organizations. More details to come in subsequent weeks here on PWR
For those
News,
of you that don't know,
2-Minute Drill,
for those of you
and
that
PWR
don't know,
Interactive Live. It's time to shake things up again.
For those of you that don't know, currently the score is Meathead 1, Dameon 0.
In your demented mind, Hillary Clinton. Ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to PWR News. Damian Nelson sitting alongside me. Frank Cosentino traveling this week. He's in the Windy City.
And not because of what Frank Spadini.
This is PWR News. Thanks for tuning in. February ratings data, Meathead. You've got some numbers for us about the comparison of 2007 versus 2008 for each of the main wrestling programs on air.
Yeah, February ratings data from WWE Raw. The January 2008 average was actually a 3.55 rating. The average rating for February of 2008 actually was 3.94, and for March it was 3.60. The 2000 and 2008 difference was actually down 8.6. Down 8.6. Ratings continuing to fall for WWE Raw. On the SmackDown side, January's average 2.81, February at 3.06, and March at 2.69. Again, 2007 to 2008, down 12.1%. Ratings continuing to fall.
And the interesting note, and Frank and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago when we went over the January data, and we're comparing February 07 to February 08 versus January 08. You look at an 8.6 decline for WWE Raw versus a 10.1% decline for the month of January on Raw. You're looking at a 12.1% decline on SmackDown. That's substantial, folks. Maybe that's why Coach is no longer on the program, because they had a 1.1% increase in January. So actually swinging minus 13.2% was SmackDown. February
His Q rating might be off
versus 2008.
You know what a Q rating is? Do you folks know what the Q rating is? Kevin Nash used to always talk about his Q rating in WCW. When he's on camera, ratings go up. Let's see what Kevin Nash does. Ratings for ECW on Sci-Fi, the January 2008 average was 1.23. The February 2007 was 1.45, and then February 2008 was 1.36. So again, the difference down 6.2 for the last year for ECW. Now TNA Impact, on the other hand, ratings keep going up. Dameon Nelson, January 2008, 1.17. The average rating for February was 1.04 of 2007, and then in 2008, 1.09. So the difference between 2007 and 2008 is actually 4.8 on the upswing. TNA Impact, well, we're moving on up.
TNA Impact, we said last month when we went over the January ratings analysis, TNA Impact, obviously the strongest show in professional wrestling right now, and continues to be. Now, it's not the top rated, it's not the best performing, but it certainly is the fastest growing. And you've seen a significant decline on all WWE products. And ECW alone last month, January versus January 2007, had a 20.6% decline. So they're minus 26.5% almost year over year in their ratings in ECW, while TNA continues to climb this month an increase, up 4.8% over prior year. I'll give you the same analogy and detailed experience that is used in the retail sector, which is same-store sales. The Walmart on the corner of your house. I hate Walmart. Let's go to Target. The Target on the corner of your house. If that Target does sales less than the sales it did in the same month the prior year, there's a problem. If it does better sales than the sales it did in the prior year, it's a success. That's the indicator for the retail sector. Same thing for television. You always want sustainable growth in the television market. WWE not showing they have that sustainable growth right now, and there have been really no market changes, no significant swings as far as outside influence as far as what's going on in the world. So it's simply month and year comparison. TNA continues to show its strength.
Now, if you were going to go by 6-month comparisons, you could always throw in, well, there was Monday Night Football, there was NCAA basketball, there was presidential stuff. They have the market research for this stuff. That's why they go month by month, because, month prior, there was the same NCAA basketball. 6 months prior, there was the same NFL football. They could go back 4 years and say there was the same presidential stuff. So what's happening with TNA, though, is actually the general wrestling audience and those not so general are starting to find Impact. They're starting to find TNA. And it's not that they're stealing WWE fans so much as they're growing their own fans. I mean, these might be fans that are still watching WWE, but they're getting more of their own fans to watch TNA. So that's really what's happening with those numbers.
Let's talk about upcoming wrestling events.
Sure, upcoming wrestling events. For the WWE, we've got on May 2nd, it's Raw in Montreal, Quebec. That being the city that apparently Earl screwed Brett and Vince screwed Brett and Shawn screwed Brett.
Everybody but Brett screwed
Everybody
Brett.
but Brett screwed Brett. On the 3rd, Raw will be taped in Hamilton, Ontario. And on the 3rd, there will be a SmackDown ECW show in Moncton, New Brunswick. I apologize for all our New Brunswickians that watch the program. I apologize for the lack of pronunciation there. For Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, May 8th, there's a live event at Barrie, Vermont. There is also a live event in Derby, Vermont on the 9th, and the 10th live event in Plattsburgh, New York. Pay-per-view action from TNA will be June 8th, Slammiversary. That's going to be happening in Memphis, Texas. John from Memphis, Texas wants us to come down. He said he's got some girls set up for me.
I believe it's actually in South Haven, Mississippi, but it certainly is right outside of Memphis, Tennessee, and will be a great event for TNA. Slammiversary tickets on sale now, via Ticketmaster.com.
Sure. There's also Ring of Honor action because there is Ring of Honor in here. On May 9th, there's going to be a Ring of Honor show in Manassas, Virginia. I don't know where Manassas is, but I bet it's got a lot of sass. And if I were to make my way to Manassas, I'd stop by Richmond, Virginia, find my girl. 510, New York, Ring of Honor. We'll be heading to the, I believe it's the Hammerstein?
It is
the
indeed
Hammerstein Ballroom. Hammerstein Ballroom, May 10th. So, weekly top 3, Damien.
Well, first, you're sitting here on this show and you just, you keep walking up to that line as you've done for 10 years. Well, what is this shirt you wear?
Fire me. I'm already fired. Fire me. I'm already fired.
And where'd you get that?
I got that
really
from,
tells a story.
I got it from PWR Shop. That's where I got it from. But the story that it tells is it's a reference to Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen. Woo! Ric Flair was bleeding from the mouth, folks, when he started yelling at Bischoff. Fire me!
September 1998 when the Horsemen were referred to Nitro. It was a great week.
And he started twitching.
Let's go to our weekly top 3. And as Meathead said, that shirt available in PWR Shop. But let's go to our weekly top 3 where we pick the best in singles wrestling, tag team wrestling, and female wrestling.
New rules for me. So Damien goes first. So
and you still don't have it written down in advance. But
calculate it.
Number 1 singles competitor is the man who I just don't get why WWE took the title off of him, Randy Orton. The age of Orton still lives on here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Okay.
And the tag team spot goes to the most dominant tag team, I think, in the business right now, LAX. And the female spot goes to the ODB, Jess Dalton.
I have my top 3 here. You want to know who number 1 in my top 3 is? He returned on Raw this week.
We got enough of this last.
Mr. Kennedy!
I believe this is where you wait.
Kennedy! I know you missed it. My top tag team, write down the date and time of this one, folks. The team of Trevor Murdoch and Lance Cade. Blame it on my roots. I'm stuck here in boots and ruin this black tie affair. Last one to know, last one to show.
Female Garth.
Mickey James, duh. And that's my top 3.
We sent out an email challenge to you, ladies and gentlemen. We wanted to know your thoughts, the difference between Backlash and Lockdown. Which show is better? As each month we'll be comparing pay-per-view events. And we've got some responses from a lot of our viewers. And you can always send your email to us at comments@pwrshow.com as this is our first week of the viewer mail segment. And let's go to our first comment, which is from Chris Comer in London, England. He says, I normally don't watch WWE pay-per-views as most are not worth my hard-earned money. As Backlash was free on Sky Sports 1, I watched it and I was surprised. It wasn't a bad show. Would I have paid for it? No. Will I get the DVD? No. But it was a solid show. When asking which was better, I don't think there was much of a comparison. After Impact aired on Bravo 2 on Saturday night, I could not wait for the pay-per-view and indeed did not wait until it aired on Wednesday night and downloaded it on Monday. Lockdown delivered on the expected matches such as Angle Joe, Lethal Lockdown, Ultimate Escape, but also on the matches which I thought would be horrible, like Cuffed in a Cage or Queen of the Cage. By the way, I'm becoming a big Roxy fan. Backlash, on the other hand, was putting me to sleep. Some of the matches were good, but there were about 15 minutes between the match ending and the bell for the next one. By the beginning of the Undertaker-Edge match, I was already asleep, even though I tried to keep awake. That
sounds like Dameon Nelson.
From London,
sounds
England.
like Dameon Nelson from a Monday Nitro.
Ron from Los Angeles, California sums it up and pretty much puts a nail in the coffin for Backlash. I'm sorry, for
Lockdown.
Backlash was better than Lockdown. But, Ron, where's your supporting documentation? It was a postscript in your email, but why? I can say that Bill Clinton is better than Jimmy Carter, but why?
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, but I did touch her badunk-a-dunk.
Backlash versus Lockdown, basically at this point, it's a draw this month, and we still need your email correspondence. Let us know what you think, or if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, you can go ahead and put a little comment right down there.
Oh, we read those too.
And send your thoughts to comments@pwrshow.com. Again, that's comments@pwrshow.com. And a couple of updates on pwrshow.com itself. Firstly, The news and 2-minute drill shows, this show and 2-minute drill, another show you and I will host, along with PWR Interactive, are all now available on iTunes. Subscribe to PWR Live on iTunes. Again, that's PWR Live on iTunes. Subscribe to get updated whenever new episodes become available, and take PWR with you on the go.
It'll be on what you call an iPod. I did that for you. I know you heard.
The new PWR media player is available on the site based on your feedback. We did go ahead and relinquish back the old style but new updated version of the PWR player for you to get all the shows in one spot.
I thought I was the PWR player.
I'm sorry, what does your shirt say again?
Fire me! I'm already fired! Fire me!
Episode 1, PWR episode 1
The
is
Phantom
now available
episode.
on the site. As a matter of fact, we were reviewing another archived episode just before we
It's
started
dusty.
taping here.
It is old.
When the Straw Hat was live and large and in charge. But anyways, make sure you check out that headlines
Plastic
link,
straw.
which is now available on the site as well. And don't forget PWR Shop, where you can get your Fire Me, I'm Already Fired shirt and other items. Meathead, we're out of time.
Dameon, I can't believe I'm still on PWR News and haven't been fired, because I'm already fired!
For Frank Cosentino, who'll be back with us next week, and the man they call Meathead, Dameon Nelson signing off for this week's edition of PWR News. We'll see you Monday night, PWR Interactive Live. One thing you won't take over is a better roster, because it's time to shake things up again.
Really?
Oh yeah, we're gonna do an old-fashioned draft. We're going to take every wrestling superstar, put them in a hat, and build our own wrestling organizations. More details to come in subsequent weeks here on PWR
For those
News,
of you that don't know,
PWR 2-minute drill,
for those of you
and
that
PWR
don't know,
Interactive Live. It's time to shake things up again.
For those of you that don't know, currently the score is Meathead 1, Dameon 0.
In your demented mind, Hillary Clinton. Ladies and gentlemen.
Around the corner, I'm coming, there ain't no use in me running, and now I'm pushing the button, they're doing new